Hey ghouls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be a 2023 TBR, also all of my unread books that I own or have checked out from the library at the current moment. I wanted to do one of those videos where I really enjoy them. People pick out like a year-long TBR and they say, this is 23 books I want to read in 2023. I absolutely adore that idea in theory. I've tried it before. That's just not how my brain works. I'm gonna forget it by March. So that doesn't work for me, but this video I think will. So I'm going to be going through all of my unread books that I've either purchased, that I own, that have been gifted, that I've gotten from the library, and hopefully I really want to prioritize in 2023, at least narrowing it all down. I got really good in 2022 about not purchasing every book I want to read and purchasing the ones like that I loved after the fact, so I didn't like accumulate all these books that I'd never get around to or that I didn't end up liking that much. So yes, I have 2 bookshelves. I don't want to buy any more bookshelves until I move. So yeah, let's just get into it. This is my entire unread TBR and I am hoping by this time next year I will have read all of them, or at least tried to have read all of them, or at the very least, you know, just narrow it down some more so this video won't be as long. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, we are actually going to start with my bookshelves because there's not a lot on here that I haven't read. So we're going to be starting out on a kind of good point. I am going to start out with some fantasy blasphemy. I have not read The Lord of the Rings. It's gonna happen this year, but I haven't read it. So first, on my unread TBR, kind of a big one, but we're gonna tackle this year for sure. So yes, Lord of the Rings, all 3 of them, haven't read. That is about it on this shelf. This shelf we're good. On this shelf, I have not read Helter Skelter, Dune, Dune Messiah, or Children of Dune. I found all of these Dune books secondhand, and I thought they looked really cool. So maybe that'll be a 2023. But that's it for this shelf. Going over to this shelf, another favorite shelf. We're doing pretty good on this one. All I got is the Oleander Sword, second book in the Jasmine Throne series. Really enjoyed the first one, just need to get around to this one. Moving on to my next shelf, Stephen King. I've read most of these. The only ones on this shelf that I haven't read 4 Past Midnight. Still need to read Needful Things, and I also need to read Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Also need to read Desperation. Moving on to the next shelf, we have The Dark Half, The Regulators, Hearts in Atlantis, Bag of Bones, From a Buick 8, Lisey's Story, and Duma Key. There's definitely an era of Stephen King that I haven't sampled from the most, but we're moving on to the next shelf. And this shelf, this one's actually on my January TBR, but I still haven't read it, so it goes in the video. Most of the Dark Tower series, so Drawing of the Three, The Wastelands, Wizard and Glass, Wolves of the Kala, Song of Susanna, The Dark Tower, and Dance Macabre. Moving on to the next shelf, we've actually done pretty good here as well. I'm not going to pull it out because these are nestled in, but A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens I have not read. I've also not read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, but everything else on this shelf I have read. Everything else on this shelf, which is just some childhood favorites, I have read. And then on this shelf down here, the only one I have not read is Dan Brown's Origin. So that was my bookshelves. Now we're going to move on to other books that are assorted that I have around the house. And the other bookshelf that I have that is basically my TBR shelf doesn't get a lot of light. So we're going to move to here. City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. The Real Lolita by Sarah Weinman. White Ivy by Susie Yang. Son of Rosemary by Ira Levin. This one I'm very nervous about. I got it secondhand because it was in great condition. I've heard it's not that great. Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite horror classics, so very nervous to read this one. Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. The Unwilling by Kelly Braffett. I believe this is the first book in a series. The Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes. The Book of Dragons, edited by Jonathan Strahan, and this has a whole bunch of authors in it. I have read some of it, not all of it, so I am counting it as unread, but it's an anthology about dragons. Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. The Perishing by Natasha Dion. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. I've actually started this one a while ago and soft DNF'd it, not because I didn't like it, but because I wasn't in the mood for it at the time, so definitely hoping I can pick this one up this year. The Swan Thieves by Elizabeth Kostova. I also have The Historian somewhere that I'm currently reading right now, but that's technically unread as well. Moving on to library books, this is my current nonfiction, but I have like 500 more pages to go, so definitely unfinished. That would be Secret City, The Hidden History of Gay Washington by James Kerchick. The First Binding by R.R. Verdi. The Hollow Kind by Andy Davidson. It Came from the Closet, Queer Reflections on Horror. A short story, not short story, but like an essay anthology about exactly what the title implies, how horror impacted or impacts other people's queer experiences. The Ones We Burn by Rebecca Mix. Transgender History, The Roots of Today's Revolution by Susan Stryker. Leech by Hiron Inns. All the Blood We Share by Camilla Bruce. White Horse by Erica T. Worth. Dark Tides by Philippa Gregory. Three Sisters, Three Queens by Philippa Gregory. A History of Fear, a novel by Luc Dumas. The Witch and the Tsar by Olesya Salnikova Gilmore. Loot by Jennifer Thorne. The Sleepless by Victor Manibo. Malice House by Megan Shepard. And last but not least, Speaking of Bones, Book 4 of the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. That is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more content, leave a comment down below letting me know what does your 2023 TBR look like. Subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!